Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am super excited. And of course, I did forget exactly here we go, I got it. Today, I got it. We are now officially live on Facebook and YouTube. And this gorgeous woman that's with me right now is the amazing Mary Jo Rennert. And her topic today is Everybody's Got a Hungry Heart. And I got to tell you, if anyone knows about hearts, it is she. She brings me smiles every time I'm with her. You do. I'm always happy.
You are sweet.
When I'm with you. See that she tells me I'm sweet. It's wonderful. So anyway, she's an author, she's a speaker, she's a coach, and she's a powerful witness to a beautiful way to true happiness. Her books, her talks, her signature coaching program, and her retreats all lead towards that destination. Now, Mary Jo divorced after 44 years of marriage. She now makes it her mission to help other women heal their own journeys. She now makes it her mission in her book, which is called You Are Still Beloved When Your Long-Term Marriage Ends in Divorce. Based on her own experience, it's a valuable resource, by the way, for anyone trying to navigate the dark night of divorce. That's a good way to put it, the dark night of divorce. Yeah. The good news is there's always a morning. There's always a morning. Mary Jo is
right.
She is passionate. I'm still working here. Mary Jo is passionate about the divorce ministry and views it as a huge need throughout the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wild and enthusiastic, I can't even say it because I'm so excited, World Love Week welcome to, say that 3 times fast, to my dear friend, Mary Jo. Woohoo!
Well, this is World Love Week, starting with Valentine's Day. And I don't want to take anything away from that. The world definitely needs love. But if you're one of the many people who've experienced divorce, wouldn't it be great if you could hear a message of love meant just for you? Wouldn't it be awesome to hear someone tell you how much you're loved and cherished? Wouldn't it be wonderful to receive that kind of love and affirmation every day? Would that feed your heart? If so, this message is for you. You know, Bruce Springsteen sang, "Everybody's got a hungry heart," and he was right. But he wasn't the first person to know that. Way back around the year 400, St. Augustine said, "The deepest desire of the human heart is to be seen and to see other people in the same way." Now think about that for a moment. Imagine if you could really be seen and loved for who you are, not what you do or what you have or how you look. Imagine if you could see other people and love them for who they are. Those are kind of scary thoughts, aren't they? After all, you might be thinking, if people knew the real me, they wouldn't like me. Or if they could see who I really am, they couldn't love me. My name is Mary Jo Rennert, and I believe you're one of a kind, created by a God who loves you beyond measure, regardless of what you've done or failed to do. A God who truly sees you and knows you inside and out. I believe you're meant to shine as a unique expression of God's love in the world. And I also believe there are no coincidences. If you're listening right now, you're meant to hear this message. Why am I so passionate about this? Because losing the marriage relationship that defined me for 44 years made me dig deep to discover who I really am. My mission is to help you understand your true value as the unique gift you are, so you can fill your hungry heart with what really satisfies, especially if you've been wounded by divorce. That's why I write and speak and coach others who've experienced grief and loss. And let's face it, we're all grievers. Before I get started, I want to thank Ken Krell, the founder of World Love Week, for validating my mission. Sometime back, I attended a 5-day challenge Ken hosted, and I learned so much from him. I almost skipped the 5th day just because I felt so filled up. But I'm really glad that I finished it. After the event, he spoke to me personally and gave me the courage I needed to step out and live my mission. I also want to thank you for being here. I'm sure you could be doing something else, but you've taken the time and chosen to listen. If you've been through a divorce or any other type of loss, I want you to know I think you're very brave, and I applaud you for taking part in this. What I'm going to share with you today will help you know you can survive tragedy, reclaim your joy, and satisfy your hungry, aching heart. Each of us has a story. We can listen to each other's stories and compare them to our own and consider ourselves better or worse off than someone else, but that's not always helpful. Every person, every relationship, every marriage, and every divorce is unique. Each of us grieves in our own way. We can't heal or soften our grief by comparing ourselves or our situation to others. However, we can find consolation in knowing that others who've experienced divorce have survived and eventually even thrived. There is life and hope and a new day after the dark night of divorce. I'm not speaking to you as a therapist or a professional counselor. I write and speak and coach from my experience as a Catholic woman divorced after 44 years of marriage to my childhood sweetheart. Now, my story is no more important or remarkable than yours, but it's how I can share some of the lessons I've learned along the way. Divorce wasn't part of my paradigm. Both my former husband, and I'm going to call him Glenn, and I are cradle Catholics. We met at religious education class when we were 14, started dating at 15, and married when we were 20. We were blessed to adopt our wonderful daughter and son by the time we were 30. We actively practiced our faith throughout our marriage, but practice doesn't always make perfect. Glenn and I were surrounded by long-term Catholic marriages. My parents were married nearly 65 years before my dad died. My grandparents celebrated 66 years together, and my husband's parents were married for 63 years. Though each couple occasionally bickered, their mutual love was obvious to everybody around them. And after 44 years, I had little reason to suspect my own marriage wouldn't follow that same path. But one morning at work, out of the blue, I received a phone call from a woman who claimed to be having an affair with my husband. To grab my attention, she poured out intimate details about my husband and our children. She described the inside of my house and even criticized my furniture. She offered to send me pictures and videos of Glenn and her together, some at her house and some at mine. When I asked why she'd called me, she said she was mad at him because he was messing around with her best friend. During our conversation, she offered to get him on a 3-way call, and I thought, what have I got to lose at this point? So I hit the mute button. The voice on the other end was definitely my husband's. I listened as she accused him of cheating with her best friend and others. He didn't deny it. I quietly hung up the phone. My office door had remained open this whole time, and life outside that door went on without skipping a beat. Yet in that 15-minute phone call, my entire universe fell apart. That night after dinner, I confronted Glenn, and he admitted they'd been involved. And yes, he'd brought her to our house, but only to show it to her. He stared straight ahead while he spoke, and he didn't apologize. I waited for some sign of remorse, but he remained distant and emotionless. And I remember thinking, who are you, and when did you get a lobotomy? I'd expected at least some explanation, some attempt to seek my forgiveness, but none came. I couldn't put the pieces of my marriage back together alone. Have you felt that way? I've suffered the same deep grief, anger, and confusion you've probably experienced. And I want to share with you some of the lessons that have helped me along the way. Some of those are profound and others are down to earth. I don't always walk this journey with enthusiasm or grace, but I'm gradually progressing toward a better, more whole version of myself. And through it all, I've learned that regardless of how angry, hurt, lonely, hopeless, or betrayed I feel, I can't travel this road alone. This is what I believe God has taught me, and it's the message I want to share with you. You who are rejected, broken, unwanted, you are mine. I love you. You are beloved. Even if you're the one who caused the hurt in your marriage, you are still beloved. There's nothing you can do that's so bad it makes God not love you. You're precious to God. He knows every tear you shed, every longing of your heart. God loves you as if you're the only one. You are beloved by God Himself. That's your true identity. How do I know this? Over a 10-year period during our marriage, I wrote a series of scripture-based essays about the beauty and sacredness of married love. I'd compiled these into a book approved by my local bishop and was ready to publish it when the sudden derailment of my own marriage caused me to question everything I'd written. After my divorce, I set aside my writing, and I thought I no longer had any credibility on the subject of marriage or related topics. But the message remains the same, even if the messenger is broken. Truth remains truth. When I wrote that book, I learned that married love is a reflection of the perfect love God has for each one of us. We're each uniquely beloved by God. To God, each one is the only one. That's the message I wanted to convey. After my divorce, I grieved the loss of my book nearly as much as I did the breakup of my marriage. I'd spent years reading and writing about married love as a way to connect with God. Had that all been in vain? Where was God now? Had my relationship with Him changed? What did it look like now that my marriage had crumbled? I went back to the Bible, and this time I read through the lens of one betrayed by my earthly spouse. I found clear evidence that those of us who've experienced divorce haven't lost our relationship with God. In fact, God seems to speak comfort directly to us. I learned that God loves me unconditionally and without measure. And not only does God love me that way, He has that same love for every person He's ever created, without exception. God, who is love, can't not love. That truth remains at the core of my relationship with God and my understanding of who I am in God's sight. Over the years, I've been tempted to doubt God's love, to go back to thinking I must earn it, that I've got to try harder, that I'm not worthy. The truth is, we can't earn God's love. None of us is good enough. None of us is worthy. No matter how hard we try, God loves us not despite the fact that we're human, but because of it. I want to share that same truth with you. Nothing can change the fact that God loves you no matter what, more than you can ever know. Yes, the pain of losing the love of your spouse is agonizing and intense. The wounds are deep and lasting. Heartbreak is aptly named. It would be nice if peeling away your spouse would reveal this shiny new layer of God's unconditional love to comfort and console you. I wish it were that easy. The process of healing after divorce is more like the formation of thin, fragile scabs and tender pink scar tissue that can easily be torn and disrupted. You know, we tend to identify ourselves in multiple roles as wife or husband, daughter or son, mother or father, employee, business owner, caregiver, volunteer. But what we do doesn't define who we are. All those roles, as good as they are finite and temporary, changeable by choice or circumstances beyond our control. We're also likely to define ourselves by how we think other people see us and to measure our worth compared to those around us. Am I thin enough? Am I smart enough? Am I pretty enough? Do I make enough money? Do my wrinkles make me look old? Add a spouse's rejection to those ingredients, and you have the perfect recipe for a self-esteem of 0, a true identity crisis. The real you, the person God sees and loves without conditions or expectations, is someone you need to discover. Although your divorce strips you of a major portion of your identity, it leaves room to discover or rediscover who you really are. Who are you at the essential, unchangeable core of yourself? This is a truth we must each discover. Most of us have spent a lifetime wrapping layer upon layer to shape and reshape ourselves to fit various molds at different stages of life. The adult we become seldom resembles the child who began that journey. The bare, raw condition in which you find yourself after divorce can be an opportunity to peer beneath those layers and allow some aspects of that child to emerge, free from the expectations and constraints imposed by your marriage. Think of it as a gift in ugly packaging. That's why it's helpful to have a coach to walk with you, so you can discover how to heal from your divorce and move forward with your life. A coach can help you gain clarity about your current situation and the obstacles that stand in the way of your recovery. A coach can help you find those next steps to free yourself from grief, discover who you really are, and reclaim your joy, regardless of how long it's been since your divorce. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you 3 actions you can take to help feed your hungry heart. Number 1, recognize how unique you are. In all the billions of people who've ever lived, there has never been and will never be another you. You are not a mistake or an accident, regardless of the circumstances of your conception or birth. Your life has a purpose no one else can fulfill. Even if you don't see any meaning in your life, you may be the ancestor of someone who will change the course of history. You're here for a reason. Number 2, seek beauty in everything. You may not have received a fancy Valentine card, a dozen red roses, or a box of candy, but the one who sees your heart and loves you unconditionally paints the sky every day just for you and wants to delight you with an ever-changing masterpiece. Remember that the next time you see a beautiful sunrise or sunset. And finally, number 3, take charge of your thoughts. I know how easy it is to play negative scripts in your head over and over again, to play the blame game. For a long time, I allowed myself to get caught up in imaginary conversations that always sent me into a downward spiral. Was it me? Why didn't you love me? What's wrong with me? I couldn't seem to break that cycle, and the constant mental battle was exhausting. One morning, when that mental monologue kicked in, I noticed the sound of birds singing outside my window. They'd probably been there all along, but I'd been so wrapped up in my imaginary conversations, I'd failed to hear God's beautiful music. What are you missing when you allow negative thought patterns to hijack your mind? You can replace unhealthy and damaging thoughts with conscious thanks. Even if you don't feel grateful for anything, start by giving thanks for 3 basic things each day that make your life easier or more comfortable. Easy things like electricity, running water, a microwave. Make note of those things on your calendar or in a notebook, and expand your list as you notice more things you appreciate. The more you look for the good in your life, the less you'll focus on the negative. Those 3 actions, recognizing that your life has purpose and meaning, seeking beauty in the world around you, and consciously taking charge of your thoughts, can make a huge difference in your life beginning today. If you found this message helpful, I have a gift for you. On the dashboard, you'll find a link to download a chapter from my book, You Are Still Beloved. And I invite you to keep listening to World Love Week as we help you feed your hungry heart.
Wow. All I can say is wow. What you just saw was magnificence, you guys. I want you to watch for this woman. I want you to follow this woman because she is a force of nature and she can change the world of so many. I am blown away. I've not seen you speak before or watched you or in action like this. I know you in a different way. And I got to tell you, you are such a superstar. So I just want you all to know that the way Mary Jo presents herself is love in action. And I want whatever comments you have that you're making in the Facebook group right now, make as many of them as you can. Share this with as many people as you can. We all have stories. We all have our stories of betrayal, of loss, so much. Mm-hmm. And I think the big word there is betrayal. We trust, and sometimes that trust is misplaced. And to me, the big lesson, and I see this with so many, is that if we let that betrayal continue for us, in other words, if we don't go past that and recognize this was a singular experience, that it is not, your life is not
Yeah.
completely betrayed. It is this instance
Mm-hmm.
and someone else, not you, then you can move forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's, and it's not always easy, but how many people do we see that are afraid to enter into love again because, oh God, it could happen again. Well, if that's your energy, guess what? It will.
It will, exactly, because you have to be open to loving and to receiving love. And you can't allow yourself to be defined by an experience like divorce, like betrayal, like the loss of a relationship, because you live there.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure.
you know, I know people, and you know, it's funny, I heard a TED talk not long ago. If you feed your brain those negative thoughts and you concentrate on that all the time, you get endorphins from it. It becomes addictive, and it happens very, very quickly. And that's why you'll meet people years and years later after they've lost a relationship, you know, whether it's death or divorce or whatever, and you can hardly break those people out of that pattern.
Yeah, it is. And the victim side of it is,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it's disempowering. It's a significance piece. It's mine. I was a victim. You know, okay, time out, time out. But accepting accountability for it, to say, how is it that I created this? What is it about me that created this situation? That's where you start to get your power back. And it
took me a couple years before I would even go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah. Well, the anger is
yeah.
I will tell you that there's still things from many years ago that I don't want to use the words hold on to, but I guess it's true because I still remember it, you know, and I've so we do need to move past, just for ourselves, because the other party, and I don't know the other side of your situation, certainly, but those other folks, they've long forgotten you. You know,
Right.
they moved on. They're doing their own thing. They're just in their own space. So why are we still dragging that? There was an old Zen thing, and I've got to watch our time here. And I'm going to say this song, I'm going to repeat this story in probably the least eloquent way possible. But there was a Zen master that I needed help being carried across a stream or something. And this person helped him across the stream. And then as they walk continuing, the guy said, "Gee, was something, and said, I don't know why you're still carrying me. You stopped carrying me when we got to dry land. Why are you still carrying me in your brain?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying it wrong, certainly, but that's the whole idea. So why are we holding on to all the negative stuff when these people, we're punishing ourselves for something that's not even your own fault? And that's the tragedy of it for so many of us. And we need to release that in whatever way. You've got great ways to do it. And being in gratitude is a fantastic way to manifest that, recognizing that every day is a blessing. There are people around that absolutely love you. And you, Mary Jo, in the groups that you're involved in, and you're in one of mine, is you're surrounded by love, and we adore you. Pam Heath says, another thing is drinking poison, hoping that the person drops. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because that forgiveness thing's a whole different, that's another chapter in my book. But
I need to read that chapter.
because you allow that person to hold power over you.
Yeah, exactly.
You think you're controlling them by not forgiving, but if we don't forgive, that person still has control.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Mary Jo, I adore you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Pam Heath says, I want to be Mary Jo when I grow up. And I can totally see
Thank
why.
you, Pam.
We are blessed to have you with us. Thank you again so much for being here, and for being so accommodating to our schedules. And ladies and gentlemen, the incredible and rock star Mary Jo Grimling. Here we go. We are now recording officially as well. Life is good. Hey, everybody, Ken Krell here. Thrilled to have you with us. It is the middle of the night here in Sydney, Australia. I mean, exactly the middle of the night at 12 midnight, but it is earlier in the day in the other side of the world, in the great city, the city of light, isn't it? The city of Paris. I'm so thrilled to have Helena with us. And Helena Hansen is originally from Sweden, but now a French resident. She has been editing and reading and become a literary coach for, gosh, over the past 15 years, 16 years now, from what I count on the information that I have here in my hand. And today she's going to share with you about how all that can go together and how you can put love into your writing and love into your communications. And I couldn't be more excited to have with us today, tonight, this morning, good evening, whatever time you are, Helena Hansen.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. It's 2:00 in the afternoon here.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. And I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope you will understand my English, because normally I speak French all the days and Swedish, of course.
Well, your English is great, and for me, it's a thrill to be having someone in France, because French is my second, next to English, is my second favorite language. So I'm absolutely thrilled. That's why I keep coming back to you, like, oui, merci, So we have to do this in English, but I hear you great. You're awesome. So I'll let you go right ahead.
Yeah. So I'm here today to talk about my love for literature and how it can make you become an excellent writer. And you can say that I brought my love for literature into my own business. And as you said, I'm a writer's coach, I'm a publisher's reader, I'm an editor. Sometimes I work as a ghost writer, and then it's a little bit more like a secret. It's not my name on the cover of the book, but it's me who has written it. And but I feel every day when I go to my office, or my home office, I have an office at home, and I feel this great love for what I'm doing. And I think if you love what you do, and if you're doing what you love, you get more successful and you get more love into your life. And I hope I bring a lot of love to my customers, the writers I'm working with, because I'm working with not only established writers, I'm working with aspiring writers. And I have some advice for you how to become an excellent writer. And my first advice is to just do it, because everybody can write. Even if you have doubts, I think you can do it, and you can learn how to write. And the more you write, the better you get. And that is the clue, to do it. They say that in Sweden, every third person wants to write a book. And I think, I don't know how the figures are in other countries, but I think it might be the same. Lots of people, they want to write a book. And I say it's possible. Maybe you want to write a collection of short stories. That's a good beginning. Or maybe you want to write your novel, or why not a non-fiction book? Because that can be your personal business card. If you write about a topic that you're specialized in, that is great. You bring more love into your business, you get to love what you do, and the customers will love to read your book. So that's my advice, to write. And you can learn how to write in many ways. You can go to, for example, you can take classes in creative writing. Sometimes I organize actually workshops in Paris in creative writing. And as you said in the beginning, I don't know if the other heard that, but I live in Paris, the city of love, or the city of lights, but I usually call it the city of love, because especially if you love literature, it's an amazing city. You can go to all those cafes where, for example, Hemingway, Scott Fitzgerald, the Beat Generation, where they sat and created their work, and you feel the ambience of love, the love of literature, and that's just amazing. And so I brought this love into my business, and I also taken a Master of Arts in creative writing from Lund University. It's in the south of Sweden. But the most difficult thing I've done is to learn French, because when I moved to France, I couldn't speak much French. Of course, I've studied French in college, but you know, when you come to France, it's not the same way people do speak. And so I took a lot of classes and courses in the French language, and then I can enter the master program in literature. And it was, well, it was a challenge, but I made it, and I made it with good grades. And I think that's thanks to my love of literature. And doing what you love, it makes you can be more, you put more love in what you do, and it becomes so much more easier to do what you love. And so don't give up. It's the same thing with writing. Don't give up. Some people, they say it's 10% inspiration and 90% transpiration. And I think that might be right, because some days maybe you sit in front of your computer and you feel you don't get nothing written, but at the same time you think about your text, and you work it, you develop your text inside your head. And some days maybe you write a lot of pages. So my advice is to just do it. Sit in front of the computer and write. And my second advice is to read a lot. Because when you are reading books, one can say you can read books in, of course, many, many ways. But I would say there are two main ways of reading a book. It's reading it like a reader. You get fascinated by the story, the characters, and so on. But you can also read it like an author. And you can study how the other writer has done when creating the book. For example, you can take a look at story structure. It's a very, very important component. Maybe one doesn't think about that when writing. And you can take a look about how the characters are developed, how they are created, because a character, there needs to be a development. A character should not be the same in the beginning of the story as in the end. And you can also take a look at the setting, the detail, the style, and that can make you find your own literary voice. And I think it's amazing reading books. So the next time when you read a book, I recommend you to read it like a writer, and read your favorite book again and see how the writer has done. And maybe you say, oh, it's so hard to write a book, it takes so long time, but you can write a book in many ways. And for example, like Stephen King, he says at least that he's an organical kind of writer. That means he doesn't plan anything. He's just writing his stories but he has a lot of experience too, so that comes into the picture. But you have, for example, Larry Brooks, who has written the excellent book Story Engineering, and there you can learn from handbooks in writing, and he is focusing on structure, on characters, and everything you need. So you have to feel for yourself which is the best way for you to write, because there are so many ways, but don't forget to read. And my third advice is to letting other people read what you've written, because it can be lonely. It can be lonely sitting at your home office or at a cafe writing, and you feel you're a bit alone. And I think you will feel the text gets also more alive. It's become a real story when you let somebody else reading it. So that's my third advice. And it's very good to let's say friends and family read your text, but you can also contact a writer's coach. And maybe you wonder what is a writer's coach doing? And me, when I'm working with customers or clients or writers or people who want to become writers, we set up deadlines, they send in text. I look at a lot of components like story, structure, characters, setting, details, language, and not at least the thing to show, not tell. That is very important, because you have to work with pictures, or you don't have to, but the book gets more interesting, if you ask me, if the reader can see pictures in front of him or her when he or she is reading the book. And that's something that is very, very important. And I'm reading text mostly in Swedish, but also in English and in French, of course. And that is my advice, to let your text out of of your computer and sending it to a professional writer's coach. And I don't know if I should talk about my gift to you who are listening, because I'm offering you, because I'm so happy to be here. I'm thrilled to be here talking, and I think it's great, and I want to encourage everybody to write their story, because I think everybody has a story inside of them that needs to get out, to be read. And so you can contact me and you will get 1.5 hours of free online writing coaching. And I will also get feedback, give you feedback on 1,000 words. And there's a link. We will put it on the side, on the page after, so you can subscribe to my newsletter. But you can also contact me through the contact form on my web page. And I will be happy to help you, because I feel this passion, and I hope you feel passion for literature and writing too, because that is all my life is circling around literature and writing, and that is my passion. I think it's as passionate to help other people to write and develop their text, to refine their text, as to as when I'm writing myself. And so I think I've chosen a great job, and I fulfilled my dream. And I think maybe of you who are listening, you have this dream of writing a book, and I say it's possible.
I'd say it's possible too, with someone like you, Helena, as a coach. That's fantastic. And I'm grateful for your being here. I do want to jump in for the moment and clarify something for everyone watching, because Helena is speaking with massive heart, but I don't think she recognized exactly what she just gave away. And so I'm going to put a limiter on it to protect her, because she is no way in the world that she can manage the bandwidth of all these people coming in for a 90-minute session with her complimentary. That is above and beyond and crazy. So crazy love. She's in Paris. She's overwhelmed by love today. So I'm going to say that it will be limited to the first few people that actually come on board to enroll with her in that incredible offer. And so when you see on her website that it's, oops, sorry, but maybe she has something else for you instead that she can scale, that'll be where we are. So it's a first mover kind of thing, but I've got to protect you, because I've seen this happen before. And the last thing I want you to do is go, oh no, I really didn't mean to do that. So yeah, anything that when we do talk about giving away a gift, the last thing I want anyone to do is create a challenge for themselves where there's no limitation. And so yeah, I just wanted to jump in. I was like, oh no, she didn't do that. Because I'm like, I'm signing up right now. I want that sucker now.
Yeah, you can do that.
Right. So before we go ahead and change that on the page, whoever's watching this right now, get in there right now and do it, because otherwise it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Because
And it doesn't mean, for me, it doesn't mean you have to book your time just now. We can planify it for maybe people can send in text in some month, because to be honest, I'm a kind of popular publisher's reader and a writer's coach. So I have a lot of job and I have a lot of text to read. So I'm very thankful.
That's my point. We can't have
that you are helping me
to. So what I'll recommend is this. And because we're producing it, we can jump in and we can kind of help make those rules. So I want to encourage Helena to, when we finish the interview today and we finish her session, she'll scale it to the point where, and this is a lesson for everybody. I teach this in our Pride program, which stands for Produce Ridiculously Irresistible Digital Events. It's to make sure that what you do offer, you don't get yourself in trouble for. So
no.
I say in trouble is like, oh mush, I promised too much, because we want to give. I mean, that's the whole idea. It's really sharing your love.
Yeah.
But if we overshare it, then we create a nightmare for ourselves. And by the way, this event is a perfect example, because what was right, Zor? It's a totally perfect example of oversharing and overhelping. I did not really intend to do a 24/7, oh my gosh, 300 speaker kind of an event. And so it came from here, from wanting to help Zor help his folks in his family and his village in South Sudan. So I'll recommend that what you do is you have a redeem by date, and you see that with any kind of contest or free gift anyway from other people. So that's totally okay. So let them redeem by a certain date, then you'll deliver it within a certain time frame. So there's an expectation, and limit it to say the first 10, 20, 30, 400, whatever you want to use, because you never know, especially when our VIPs get lifetime access to this recording. They can look at it next year and go, oh, I want that,
Yeah.
right? So we have to make sure we protect you, because you're editing from the heart and you're always busy. So I don't think you're recognizing that, this could be, oh my goodness, what you've given, what you've offered.
I'm aware of that.
Right? What you've offered is so incredibly generous that I just want to make sure that you don't like, what did I do? So as you guys watch, understand something. This is a limited offer and a first come, first serve. So I can protect this natural beauty here of a human that is helping change the world by editing and crafting literature for her clients that can truly make a gigantic difference and shift people's experience from where they are right now to where they can be, all because of the way words and stories appear in print. And that is an incredible gift that you have.
Thank you. Because I want to spread the love, my love for literature, and I want to, how do you say, encourage people to write.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. If I was going to be an aspiring writer, and I guess to some degree I am, I've already got a couple books that are out already and I've self-published. But if
Yeah.
I wanted to do the kind of stuff that you're doing, not coaching people, but I wanted to be like when you're clients, first of all, what type of writing do you work with? Are you fiction, nonfiction? Does it make a difference?
No, I'm working with both.
Interesting.
And yeah, but there are some other kind of things you look at or analyze if you're working with a non-fiction book. You're working, it's a lot about structure, it's the title, it's the language. You should be kind of teaching something that is easy for the audience, for the reader to understand, to not to some people they want to complicate the language because, but I think you should make it simple.
Yes. Oh,
And
yes.
that can be the hard part. um to some people, to readers, they will understand and they will get more out of the book. And yeah, so there are some other things I analyze when it comes to nonfiction books because it's two different types of writing. Maybe it's not so much show, not tell, because you're not writing a story, but at the same time, it's a kind of storytelling. So, but there are two different kind of approaches, you can say.
As a nonfiction writer, and that's kind of my domain, I absolutely agree with you that the power of story is still critical because people remember the story. So if
Yeah,
we're going to talk about whatever the topic may be, training a dog, then telling the
yeah,
story about how Billy trained, Biffy the dog or whatever, and
yeah,
first he did this and first he did that, and then and then I taught him this one little thing. And oh my god, that people remember, right? So it's
right.
really important to do that. And then, as you said, very important distinction for every one of us is to remember, number one, who your audience is. If it's a scientific journal,
Exactly.
right? If it's a scientific journal, you can talk in that very high language. But if you're talking to common people like us, then talk in natural language. Don't try to impress us with big words because that you lose the audience there. And
Yeah,
it's funny, as a writer, I'm a writer, but I'm more of a copywriter. And when you write copy to convert, to get people to take action, you've got to write it at like the fourth, fifth, sixth grade level so people
yeah,
can read it. Using big words that say you're a genius doesn't get you the audience. So,
no. And
right?
that is, I would say it's very important too in non-fiction or in fictional, sorry, in fictional books to know who your audience is. Because if you're writing a fantasy book, it's not the same people who wants to read a thriller or a romance story. You need to limit your audience because that's a common mistake. You think, oh, I'm writing for everybody, but it's so hard to englobe all people in an audience. You have to know who your audience, who you want to write to or write for, and adapt your language, of course, after your audience, even in fictional books.
It's funny, so funny that you're mentioning that because as a marketing guy, we talk about the right fit audience and knowing who your customer avatar is and eliminating those. It's like Michelangelo and that slab of marble. How did he find David? He took out what wasn't, right? And you're talking about writing to the correct audience or choosing your audience and writing to them. It's interesting. I don't think people connect that writing is the same thing. It's knowing, Stephen King, knowing who his reader is.
Yeah.
To be able to write towards that person, whoever that market is. I don't even know who that market is for Stephen King, how you would describe their reader. But that's amazing. And I don't know that people recognize that it goes so far into everything that we do, is getting real specific to knowing your customer, knowing your client, and serving them. Yeah. I mean, imagine, well, it's really interesting knowing your client. So you go to a concert, right? And when the artist wants to play new music, we in the audience don't want new music. We still want Goodbye Yellow Brick Road at an Elton John concert. We don't want the new stuff. The hell with that. We still want, blah, blah, blah. And Elton John's probably so tired. He wants to have that road be torn up, but Yellow Brick Road has made him a lot of money, so as a writer, same kind of idea. So what kind of books excite you the most?
What kind of books? I will say I'm not specialized in any type of genre, or how you pronounce it in English.
Genre is correct.
Genre.
Oh, I like it with the genre. Très bien, it's fantastic.
Ouais, c'est très bien, c'est comme ça.
Merci. So no, I see, I get excited about that. That's just one of those
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love working with all kind of books, because I think it's the same kind of craftsmanship. Because I think what's important to think about too is that you can learn how to write, because some people think it's only inspirational, it's only genius who can write a book, but this is something you can learn how to do. And of course, if you read a feel-good book, there's certain expectations from the reader. There should, for example, always be a happy ending. If you are writing a criminal story, you want to know who the killer is. Or, yeah, because if you are not writing like a, I don't know, trilogy or something, but there is something that's important in every type of book.
Helena, sorry.
Go ahead, Zora.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask. I love your presentation. It's awesome. I was gonna ask, when you're writing a book or when you're writing whatever, are you a type of writer that normally start with outline and follow the outline, or are you the person that just go with the creativity of the story?
And as you answer that, understand we have less than 30 seconds left. So before we have to go to our next guest. So
yeah, I will make a quick answer. I'm planifying, because mostly I'm writing for other people, so it's what they want to write that I'm focalizing on. So they need to know what I should write as a ghostwriter, for example. But you can do both. It's when you're writing a book yourself, you do what feels the best for you, because there is no right or wrong in writing a book, I think, or the way you write a book, but there are components you need to think about.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So unfortunately we've got to end our stream right over here. We have another stream coming up in just another second here, actually right now. So yeah. Helena Hansen, thank you so much for being with us today. I love you. You're awesome.
Yeah, lots of love you from Paris and to you all. And thank you for letting me speaking here today.
It's been an honor to have you. It's been an honor to have you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
I stand for love. Do you?
Hey, this is Captain Lou, and I stand for love, baby. Do you?
Do you? Do you?
Do you? Yes. Do you? Do you?
Do you?
Do you? Do you?
Do you?
Good morning, good evening, everybody. I'm just going to connect us to YouTube right now as well. So give me 1 second and you're going to be ready for a fantastic treat. Here we go. All right. We are now streaming to YouTube as well, which is awesome for you YouTubers. Today, you are in for a fantastic treat. Now, by the way, when I say today, it could be this morning, this afternoon, good evening, because at the moment it is 5 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Janet, where are you? Where are you?
I'm on the West Coast, Pacific time.
So it's early, it's morning for you on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. It is a
Happy
treat.
Valentine's Day.
It is a treat to have you with you and to have you with you. That's it. That's what happens when you're delirious at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I want to get the show on the road because she's got some amazing things to share with you. This is the incredible Janet Grace, who is a Love Your Life coach, speaker, teacher, and author. And she ignites amazing conscious people worldwide. That's you, by the way, to live your life from above and from love and above, which is what we're all about today and this week in every area of your life. Janet Grace's powerful presentations are based upon the spiritual laws of love to inspire passion and empower change as we come up to meet our highest self to make a difference for good in the world. So relax. Well, relax, but actively listen, because I want you to receive her message of love as you remember that you are love. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Janet Grace Nelson.
Thank you so much. It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you here on Love Day, and you choose it's just, you know, love just is the spark that ignites every single one of us to live just more anonymously and really give from that place of love and above. I know Ken's searching for some other things.
No, I didn't know that we were bantering for a second, so I muted myself and I was just checking on something from the tech side. So I got to tell you, Jan, that one thing is really interesting is that sometimes people will talk about love and it's just lip service, but you're experiencing that with this amazing woman because just going through our process today, and as we've sprinted to put this event on, there have been a few things that broke, some technology breakages that have been very frustrating. And some people, while they will not handle it with finesse and with patience and with love, Janet's been just like, there's a couple things that didn't work real well. I'm like, I was like, yeah, I know. So it's been really wonderful. So let's just, as Janet says, relax and love into what's coming next. I'm really excited to hear what you got. I'm very excited to hear what we're for, especially when we get up at this time of the morning. This to me is the perfect time to be able to get into self. And these early morning hours to me are precious. So to begin or to have woken up to this to host is a treat. So yay.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you, Ken. And, you know, when you sent out the invitation to share a message of love on World Love Week, my heart just, you know, said yes. And the more that each one of us listens to the wisdom of our heart, that is the vibrational, you know, frequency of our yes in the world, and follow that yes, and not let the logic reasoning mind get in the way of us doing and being our true nature and doing the things that resonate for us to be our highest self, to be our greatest self, our giving, generous, loving, creative, powerful self. And the world really needs that right now more than ever. So I want to really talk about 3 dynamic ways that we can really use the power of love to create a world that really does work for everyone and create, you know, it starts with our heart. It starts with us each individually. And then as we're in this collective community right now, it's vibrating out. So Ken, you're in Australia, and yours in Africa, and I'm on the West Coast. I don't know where Rochelle is, and I don't know where all the the audience is, but because we're speaking about love and the frequency of love, it's vibrating positive energy wherever we are, and it's coming out from us. So it's a beautiful way to start the day. It's a beautiful way for us to give of our unending of good and joy and creativity and solutions for this world.
It's true. It's totally true. And by the way, Zora is actually not in Africa. Zora is in Hobart, Australia. So he's just down the road a little bit by very far. Actually.
Yeah, I'm down in Tasmania, and it's a little island at the bottom of Australia. But yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah, but I was born in South Sudan, of course.
So we bring love everywhere. Anyway, I'll mute myself and back to you. You pause. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to puff in or not.
I didn't know if we wanted it to be sensational or if you want to keep sharing. So, this is your stage. I'm here to share whatever, however, whatever works.
Well, I'm good. Now that I know. I think from a bandwidth standpoint right now, because my message apparently is not getting out to you as clearly as I thought, I'll let you run with it. I may pop in. Yeah, but for some reason, you're not coming through clearly to me. Everybody was fine before. Go figure. So yes, I'll mute myself. And Zora, you're doing great. So you guys can hang out together. It looks like you have no issue on your end in Hobart. So go figure. Sydney, not so great. Hobart, fantastic. So I'm gonna move to an island. All right.
Move to an island where you get great reception.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes
absolutely
cities have.
Yeah. So, well, I'll just keep going with my message. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I just muted myself because I'm delayed. So I'm just gonna make this thing worse if I talk. So I'm gonna be quiet for a bit and let you guys run with it. We'll hope that things ease in a little bit. This is really weird that our bandwidth got wacky all of a sudden.
Yeah. I'm sorry it did too. Oh my goodness. I just know that this powerful time in human history, love is needed more than anything. And I am just so elated that I am here to share this message. And what I know is that for the last 2,000 years, the Piscean age was really led by the head, the logic mind, the reasoning mind. And we're now in the age of Aquarius. I love your coach, really focus on the highest vibration that we can come from. And so the energy of love and above is really coming from heart-centered wisdom. So when we can start really participating, living from a place of recognizing that the wisdom of our heart, what is absolutely interconnected vibrationally with everything in the universe, and that as we stay connected to our highest self through a deeper relationship with our heart, we can continue. It's like I was raised Catholic, so we prayed for people. Prayer is just sending out a positive vibration, and a prayer comes from your heart. So in this age of Aquarius in 2021, we have to use the power and the wisdom of our heart for greater good, for humanity, for the planet, for what is absolutely needed right now. And so what I want to say is that most people, the dissension, the challenges, the everything that's going on in the unrest and the political arena, focusing on fear, which is not love, which is expansion. So the more that we recognize difference and we start really strengthening the relationship that we have with our heart, with that wisdom center, with the place where we can really resonate from love and above, we get to make a difference in the world just by even tapping into it and starting our day with an open heart. So as I want to just share for a moment, the topic of my talk is called the healing power of love. And there's so many ways that we can recognize healing is just to make things whole again. And it's also a way for us to look at areas that are not whole, that are not working, systematically or working for the greater good of all. And we have an opportunity to say, what area of our lives feel like they need some more love? They need that energy. They need us to come up from a place of our heart's wisdom. So our hearts have a frequency of the same. When we really connect with the relationship of our heart, it is the same frequency of what is going on with the creation of the world around us. So, when you get out of bed and you stub and you go, "It'll be a terrible day." Well, you are actually claiming that. So we want to be really mindful of the things that we focus on. We want to be mindful of the thoughts that we're thinking. We're then putting out into vibration that's then creating our day, creating our world, creating our relationships, creating our health and well-being, creating our business, the expansion of our businesses, the expansion of the good that we want to do on the planet. So I'm just going to take us through just a moment of just connecting to our heart. So if it feels right to close your eyes in this moment and put your hands on your heart and take a deep, beautiful, loving breath from the center, the core, the essence, the spark of the divine in the center of your heart. Take a deep breath together right in that place. And as we do, and we're holding this space, we're fueling that spark, and we're allowing the spark of that place of our own divinity to spread out throughout our entire bloodstream and our organs and our tendons and our muscles, and even allowing a smile come on your face. And as you exhale, give forth that love. Like a gift of your own essence that you're sharing with anyone and anything around you in this moment. So I'm just going to in this moment, just, Ken, did you feel that? Yeah. And none of us,
I did.
None of us really, oh, that's good. I just, because what happens is when we can really connect with our heart and really take that deep, beautiful breath of love in, first and foremost for ourselves, because it starts with you. And then as you exhale and give that forth, you're blessing everything around you, everyone around you. And there is no border when it comes to energy. There is no box that any of us live in. And we are all connected here on this Zoom call, on this Facebook, in this YouTube frequency right now. And we're literally sharing each other's energies. And when I'm doing this in person and not in a virtual space, I'll say, breath is so intimate that we're literally massaging each other's organs. So if you think about the intimacy of breathing, exhaling and inhaling, and opening up your heart to be of loving service to the other souls that you're sharing this journey with, it really truly is a loving journey and a loving way that we can feel intimate, feel connected, know that there is so much that we can do just by opening up our hearts and setting the intention to actually share that love and feel the wholeness, feel the healing power that we can actually send to others. So that's the first of the dynamic ways that I wanted to share today. And the second one is for us to recognize that love truly is the most powerful healing force in existence. And that was actually a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. And lifelong student, very, very active. I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books on the subject of love. It is truly my favorite subject. And so when we get to recognize what love is, and I love acronyms. So love for me is an opportunity for us, our vibration eternally. So when you are being love and you are sharing love and you are expressing love and you are experiencing love, you're literally raising the vibration of the planet. You're raising the vibration of humanity. When we can put our attention on the energy of love, which is expansion, and recognize that when we're in fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, we are in constriction and some face of fear. So with our awareness of that, we can say, how can I put love into this moment? How can I breathe love into this experience? How can I lift my vibration eternally? There is no separate good. So as I'm lifting my vibration of love eternally, I'm lifting humanity's vibration of love eternally. So as we have this opportunity to really lift love for each other, for the planet, we are literally healing hearts and healing minds and healing souls and healing businesses and healing our opportunities to be of service and to give. And Zor, it's such an honor to be participating in this way of giving even more love for your incredible cause. And I also have a nonprofit, so I recognize that, the more that we give this generous energy of love that continues to ripple out and keep giving of itself, this is when we get to actually be our true nature. And the truth of the matter is, we are love in the flesh. We have, each one of us, been loved into existence by love itself, or God, or source, or creator, whatever label you want to put on it. But we have to realize that every act of love is us being our true nature. And that is truly how we heal with the power of love. And we will heal this planet, We'll heal ourselves from past sufferings, from past pain, from past abuses, from, all kinds. We can even pour love into those experiences so that we can stand even stronger and taller as love in this moment, and then move forward from that place of love. That's how we're going to heal this world. And I know that I know you all stand for love, as I do, and I'm just so honored and grateful to be sharing this message today of love. And on Love Day, it's just such an honor and a pleasure. And so the third thing that I just want to share really quick is, as you're staying connected to the energy of love, continue to ask yourself, what is my heart's deepest desire? To be of loving service to humanity. What area of humanity can I be of greatest service that really sparks the divine of my heart, that wants to be of service, that wants to be generous, that wants to give, so that we can all live in a higher frequency and really live on earth, because I truly believe that it's possible. So Ken, back to you for now.
I love you. That sort of was redundant, I guess. But let me ask you, we have a few minutes, so we can play for a little bit, and Zor, you can pop in as well. Especially if my bandwidth is being wacky, because I felt like we were playing walkie-talkie delay earlier. I love it when that happens. So if we're going to take the essence of what we're discussing in terms of love and sharing that, and apply it into a business scenario where you don't sound airy-fairy, where you have an audience that isn't necessarily on the same conscious wavelength as we are, because there's so many that are just into head and they've missed their connection. How do you add that piece into environments where people don't necessarily equate it, whether it's a scientific community where they're all quantitative versus essence-y. I thought maybe let's address that where folks don't yet have that connection and don't know how to play with it.
It's such a great question, Ken. And, as a spiritual life coach, I help conscious people build businesses every day. And so love is literally the energy of expansion. Fear is the energy of constriction. So quite simply, and I've done a lot of work with the Heart Math Institute, it is scientifically proven that as you work with the energy of love, what would you love for your business to expand in? What area? Greater customer service, greater ability to build a better product, serve your clients on a greater level. All of those are where it is that you tapping into a greater, higher vision for your business to expand. It really isn't a lot. It's not really different from even where you want to expand, even in your personal life, deepening your relationships, having greater, more vibrant health. But it's really, how does that feel? Does it feel, because we have the greatest internal barometer built right in, it's called our nervous system. So if you're working on building or growing your company and you're saying, we want to expand in our, we could do this, we could get better at emailing, we could get better at, social media, we could build a bigger program. If it feels like it's aligned with your vision and it feels expansive and aligned with serving more of your customer base and then you're and you're moving in the right direction. When it feels constricting and it feels like, we're just like, not really feeling it. If it's not a really feeling it, that's a not it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. That's true.
there's, and then
Yeah.
you can quantitate.
Yeah. There's that old saying, and we're having delays, so it's just unfortunate. But unless it's a hell yes, it's a no. It's got to be that whole connection there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Tell me, we only have a few minutes left. Tell me, how do you work with clients? What do you bring to the equation for someone that wants to work with you?
It's a great question too. I have, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I have a website, janetgrace.love.
I love that.
And I also have a free gift there too for all of your listeners today. Yes, janetgrace.love. Is that awesome? It's fabulous. Brand new. We're just rebuilding my brand. It just fit so elegantly, and it was a hell yes.
Yeah.
It was a hell yes. So, but on my Facebook page, you can have a one-on-one call with me. I call my Purposeful Life Call, because if you're on purpose, you're living in the energy of love. So you can call, and I have a lot of programs, 90-day programs, year-long coaching programs, VIP days. I have a lot of do sacred retreats all over the world. And when the world opens up again, we'll be doing more retreats and doing my sacred love journeys. So lots of different ways to stay connected to me. So thank you, Ken.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have the whole idea of a sacred love journey, easy for me to say, sacred love journeys. That's awesome. Right now, the only journey that we've been having is like here at the grocery store, because we're not going anywhere. But we are. Look at this. We're global right now. So we have Australia, we have the Philippines, we have the US, we have a lot of people coming in from Canada as well, and that's just here in this Zoom room, then on Facebook. So it's really miraculous that we're able to actually, the baby just came into the room. See, now I know now I know we're complete. I've had some people say to me, "Oh no, forgive the cat." I'm like, what do you mean forgive the cat? I love it when pets and children and and stuff come in the room, because it just allows you to connect with your heart. It's pretty exciting. So, Janet, I am thrilled to pieces to have you with us. And I wish we had more time, but I tell you, we've got a full plate. Hang out with us if you like, whether either here in our little broadcast area or in Facebook. And by the way, everything that all the goodies that Janet has available for us, they're on the dashboard. So you'll be able to access it that way as well. And VIPs, you'll get anything that she's got after the event's over as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage anyone who's feeling like they really want to connect more to their heart. My 7-day self-love journey, that is one of my free gifts, is 7 videos that are to help you really get in and deepen your relationship with your own heart, and deepen ways that you can bring more love into your life, that then of course ripples out into every area of your life.
Awesome. I'm so grateful to have you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Janet Grace. Yay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all. Happy Love Day. Happy Love Week. I know I'll be seeing you in this space again. Much love.
Back to you. I love it. Excellent.
I stand for love. Do you?
Hey, this is Captain Lou, and I stand for love, baby. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Yes. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you?
a force of nature. And every time that we connect, I just leave just as I've had rocket fuel. And I'll tell you, it's because the amazing Rich Kozak is rocket fuel for individuals to ensure their brand impacts people's lives and the world. He's the sage voice, listen to this, for impact-driven branding with 44 years of experience. He's beat me by 5 in every aspect of branding. Rich is a rare individual who guides people in branding that brings them joy. His mid-career radical sabbatical, that's interesting, shaped his life, focused him specifically on what impact-driven brands are doing. And now he's soon to be a 5-time published author. His story is about love, clarity, and alignment on purpose. Rich says that it's about defining your life, not just your business. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of Rich Brands and Impact-Driven Publishing, the incredible, chocolatey good, Rich Kozak. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I am so blessed. Happy Valentine's Day. Good morning. Happy Sunday and a lot of love.
It's so good to see you. I always love seeing you.
What an irony that a branding guy would talk about love. Like, what? Okay, we're going to get over that quickly. May I tell you a story?
Please tell us a story, Daddy.
Well, once upon a time, Kenny, I ran a high-tech ad agency with partners in 21 countries. I was addicted to my job, but I didn't know that yet. I would come home late at night and wake my 2 boys up, and we'd say a quick prayer, and it would sound like this: Lord, thank you for teaching us that there are only 2 things that you want us to do. We're here for 2 reasons: to share love and to praise God, and everything else is man-made. Okay, honey, now go back to bed. Now, the irony that I was addicted to my job and never around, but I could do that prayer. It's like, what? Okay, but fine. I'm over that now. That was a long time ago. But I quit branding when I turned 50, realized I was addicted to it. I quit. I don't do branding anymore. And I was brought back by people asking me for their help, but they were individuals. And I created a process based on the process we used to use with giant companies, $14 billion companies that wanted to move their brand from Germany to the United States, but the legalities were different. And so we helped them. You know, I was addicted. It was a buzz, an absolute buzz. But these days I work with individuals, and here's what landed on me. And I realized that the ability to do and see what we do is a gift. It's not a skill. I used to think it was a skill. There were heavy beat marks on my chest from doing, okay, you know, it's like it was about me, but it's not. When you have the gift to see what people can become, when you listen to what they talk about in their life, and you say, can I show you how that maps out? And they go, what? And by the time you're done, you have a picture you've held up a mirror to their heart and said, this is what I see in there. How close are we? And they go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You actually get to help people not only build a strong platform for their business, but to step from that platform into their purpose. And that's what I do these days. So it is about love. You know, we learn. Anyway, so that was my story, my little story with the prayer. And I am a love guy. We just buried my mom, 100 years old in 5 months. And the legacy that we shared when we spoke at her recorded funeral 3,000 miles away, which I couldn't go to because I would have been in quarantine. It's like, it's crazy. But is that when I went through her house and found her Bible, which is read, by the way, so happy Valentine's Day. A lot of love in here. See, I could wear a red pocket handkerchief and do the same thing. Very worldly, very substantial. I'm just saying. I find prayer lists and I find underlines of asking God to bring clarity into her mind of what his will is in her life, and prayer lists of please help. She is from the South, from Southern United States. So she talks with a little accent. Please help my son, Richard, find a good woman and not spend too much time playing in those rock bands in those bars. That was like, you know, several decades ago. But And so we realized we speak about the legacy that we leave. And sometimes legacy is a legacy of faith. It's a legacy of lessons learned. It's a legacy of mistakes made. It's a legacy of assets built. It's a legacy. There are layers of legacy. And one of my clients talks about that constantly. When it's time in someone's life to take it to a higher level, when they're ready, and it sounds like this, boy, I've done this for 20 years and I really want to take this to a higher level. Man, I've had this business for 35 years, but we've been really successful, but I want to leave a legacy in the world. I want to share this with other people. I want to teach others so they can teach others. I want to train the trainers. I want to write and I want to speak, and people are ready to take it to another level. They think branding is the answer, but they're intimidated, frustrated, confused, misinformed by what branding really is. And I am going to reframe your idea of what it can be. The name of my presentation that I shared with you, or the theme of it, is When Work Becomes Love, Reshaping Your Life. When work becomes love. So what the heck does branding have to do with love? And what the heck does branding have to do with God's purpose that he puts in each one of us when he makes us? Because we're all here for a reason, unless there's nothing to this life. And you can be one of those people, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time with you. But it's like, we're here for a reason. And we either get to step into that gift, step into that purpose, or not. And when you have somebody who says, look, I had this job for 30 years and I'm over it. I'm going to do what I love, but I want to do it right. They think they need a brand, or they want to take it to another level because they've done it for so many years and they want to do it right. And they know branding is an answer, but they don't understand it. Or they've just created something like an expertise or a method or a product, and they know it'll touch people's lives and make the world a better place, but they're not a branding person. And they know all of those people are ready to take it to another level. Here's what can happen. This is what impact-driven branding is. You envision the brand, whatever you are, speaker, trainer, scientist, coach, whatever your business is, be it a manufacturer, it doesn't matter. I have clients of all types. You imagine that thriving. You think about it. What does it look like? What are you doing? Are you serving 200 clients in your backyard for the rest of your life? Or are you speaking through 200 languages all around the world? What are you doing when you thrive? Think about that. What's in your mind is in your life. So think about thriving. Now, answer the question. In your mind's eye, who are those people that you are absolutely clear? You can see it. You can clearly see them in your mind's eye that you know you can touch their lives. And you write those down. And don't tell me women feel better, or men get over the fact that they're not their job. Okay, I want to hear a woman 40 to 50 years old with a special needs child with autism finds a way to make herself abundant and leave a legacy for the child when she's gone. That's a who and a what. That's an impact statement. Give me a who and a what. I don't need 20 of them, and don't make a list. Let them come from your heart. So you write them down. I have a client who added a light wire to safety vests. He's going to change safety all over the world. That's the impacts we wrote for him are absolutely compelling. The way he changes individuals' lives and the world. So you write them down, who and what. Maybe you have 3, maybe you have 7, maybe you have 12, it doesn't matter. The moment you write those down and build clarity and specificity into those impact statements, here it is, wait for it. That brand can be defined to be the brand you must become to make those impacts. What characteristics must you become and get credit for? What expertises must you become and get credit for in priority order in order to make the impacts? Everything is impact driven. And when you do it that way, and when you do that work, everything the brand says and does aligns to the impacts. And you get to the impacts faster, and you get to this faster. And you might even discover the purpose of business is not this anymore. It's impact. What if everyone realized, everyone who is ready, because not everyone is ready. Not everyone is ready for impact-driven branding. They haven't gone through their life. They are not at the point in their journey. But when they're ready, what if everyone realized and shifted the purpose of business to impact instead of this? And you'd get there faster anyway. What a world would it be? And so the aha moment for me was realizing this is God's work. God put those desire for impacts in our hearts. Our mind's eye says, oh, I know I can help these people. Okay, so we get on with it. Now you might write down 7 impacts and you will absolutely reach those. You are going to reach a whole bunch more. Just because you only write down 3 or 12 doesn't mean you're not going to make any other ones, but you are certainly going to race to those. And everything the brand says and does aligns and sends you there. What a God blessing. No confusion, no misinterpretation, no waiting, no wasting money on marketing, because everything's aligned. People jump into marketing and don't define who they are and really language their brand. And when that's done absolutely thoroughly, it is clarifying first and then aligning. So achieving clarity and envisioning the impacts you make on the world is such a gift. And the process that I'm doing every day with people, it's based on branding knowledge and branding expertise and branding process, but it's not about, see, your work is not why you're here. It's just a vehicle, but branding will help build a wonderful platform for that work and make it abundant so that you can step from that platform into your purpose. So when a client says, well, I'm not writing any books, and we define 3 books for them, and then they write their first book, or we have it written with them for them, and they start to get credit for their expertise, and then move into and cross the bridge into where they're going, and then get into their purpose, their life becomes more significant. Branding? It's like people don't think of branding as that, but that's what we do all day long. What a blessing. So imagine thriving. Focus on those individuals or groups that you clearly see impacting, and then create compelling, consistent language that transfers energy, so the words you speak transfer energy, shape your impacts, and attract exactly what you want to attract to make your impacts. It's a guarantee because it's the way it's defined. It's going to work because everything is impact driven. What a cool thing, huh? So, and it's all about love. It's all about love. That's the foundation of it. And it's also who's doing it. It's like one of the things I stand for. People call me a heart connector. It's a branding guy. It's okay, but hey. I mean, I used to, on my desired brand triangle, I used to have the word connecting as a characteristic. And so many people said, you're connected with my heart. I changed it to say heart connecting, because that's what people tell me it is, and it's part of the process. Phenomenal. And Ken, I think that's why you and I, we listen to each other talk about, man, there's something about him I really like.
Yeah, it's true.
We have this kind of mutual admiration society.
The dynamics that we have are, it's fun that way. And we're almost at the point where we could like finish each other's sentences, although we don't even know each other that well, but it really is, it's awesome. But isn't it energy? We do just attract each other's energy, and that's wonderful. It really is. It's special. It really is special. So I appreciate you and what you do. And I'm going to shut up and let you keep going because you're on a roll.
Well, words are energy. I mean, let's not kid around. If you said to me, Rich, what do you, oh, you're a branding consultant. Oh, dear, another one, like wah, wah. Because everybody uses the word, right? Everybody uses the word branding. So it gets a bad rap because there's a lot of really bad branding out there. But so they say, okay, well, wow, what do you do? And if I say, well, I mean, words have energy. So if I say, well, I manage the 31 iterative steps of the branding continuum. First of all, you'll be asleep. But if I say, when it comes down to it, I put rocket fuel in your branding gas tank. Just the words alone have a different energy. And so what if the words that you use to describe the brand to get credit were all congruent with your heart? Yeah. Okay. And seriously, I mean, people don't think about that. Well, we need a brand. They think a logo, oh yeah. Well, I could talk for a week about logos. You want the 5 acid test? Says what it does. Easy to say, easy to spell, easy to remember, has legs. I could talk for a week. You ready? Let's go. I mean, I've been there. You want to talk about trademark? Want to talk about, trade dress? I know things that people couldn't even forget because they don't know, because I've been doing this for so long. But that's not the point. The point is, you think branding is about business and money. What if it's about impact and building a platform with your vehicle that you've been given as a gift so that you can step into your purpose and be even more abundant and create layers of legacy that you can pass on to the world and to your family and to others? It's like, branding? Yeah. Welcome to my world. What a blessing. And so, how do people get a feeling for that? Ken, do you mind if I mention the free website with the little 1, 2, 3 minute branding question videos?
Love it. And okay, by the way,
so
and let me also
yeah.
mention that those links are also going to be in the resource area on their dashboard. So if you go to worldloveweek.com/dashboard, we have it there as well. Or if it's not there the second, it will be. So we have it there for you also.
Well, I'm going to do a little bit of a surprise. What's on that list
surprises.
It's a kind of a Valentine's Day bonus. Little ready.
Could you do that again? Yeah, do that again. That was nice. Yeah. Okay.
So sorry, old school, thebrandyoubillbecome.com. thebrandyoubillbecome.com.
I love that.
I mean, the whole brand. Okay, but not just the business brand, the whole brand, like why you're here. Got it? Okay. thebrandyoubillbecome.com. That gives you access to, I think there are 8 little 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, total 18 minutes videos answering really common branding questions with straight talk. Yes, it is I. My mother was an English teacher. It's a predicate nominative. It is I answering them with no airy fairy language like Ken was talking about. There's no essence talk. Okay, there's just straight answers about branding questions. Including the last one that says, why does Rich Brands only want to work with people determined to make an impact on others' lives in the world? So that's free. Go get them. And to get them, I'll get your email. And then anyone who just signs up for those and gets that, I'll get an email. I am going to send you a second gift. And it is a free ticket to a half-day event that I'm doing on the 27th of February called Branding You with Impact. And it is a charged event, but I will gift it to you. It's middle of the day if you're on the West Coast, Pacific time, it's 11 to 2:33, something like that. East Coast, it would be 8 to 12. Of the United States, sorry, because I know we've got people all over the world. So for the first time in your life, you come to that, you will hear and see and feel branding as a process that makes you more significant and enables you to step from your well-branded business platform into your purpose with ease. You'll see what it is, how it works, when you'll see how work becomes love and when branding becomes God's work. And I would love to gift that to you. So www.thebrandyoubillbecome, sign up. When I get your email, I will send you the gift of the free ticket for that event.
That's awesome. And for those of you that watch this on a recording in a year or 6 months or whatever, sorry.
Well, I'll come up with something else.
Timing is of the essence.
But you'll start with the videos, and you'll watch those, and you'll either go, I love this guy's straight talk, or you'll go, I want some essence. Where's the essence? And you're not my guy. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe you're not ready.
The whole piece.
If you're on this event, you're probably ready. So it's like, let's not get around.
That's true. Here's the thing. I like to be pragmatic about what we do, and I teach that way when I do my Pride event, for example, which I know you've been at.
Great event.
I thank you. It's great because of the people that show up, and the brand that comes with it is also the brand of transparency. So my whole perspective, and why I'm so happy to have you here, is that when we talk about branding, we talk about making an impact, and we talk about just doing business per se, when you come from truth and you come from your real purpose for hopefully serving your community, and I'm just not talking about your customers, which should be fundamental. It's serving your collaborators, serving your joint venture partners, serving your suppliers, serving even the Uber driver, the people that you're in contact with. If you don't,
just a choice.
Yeah, is recognizing that you can't do what you do without everybody in that entire food chain, that entire supply chain, if you will. And that's critical. I mean, if you don't win the scenario, and you want to negotiate your best terms and your best deal and everything, but when you do it with integrity, and if you goof, we've had a lot of, with this event, for example, we've had all sorts of fun technical challenges, opportunities to learn where things haven't worked. And we've had to pivot in a lot of ways over this past few days. But when you do it with the accountability that goes with it, people love that, because
so I did want to make sure, I know we have a very little time, so I want to say where I'm going with this instead of starting a story. Here's where I'm going. It's going to end with saying the world seems to work against us until clarity comes.
Great.
And then things begin aligning because we make them align. So that's where I'm going. And I worked with Lisa Nichols with Motivating the Teen Spirit. Lisa's from the movie The Secret, and I worked with her for 3.5 years. What a God blessing she is to the universe. And she used to do, she taught emotional healthiness skills to teenagers, and talk about things like negative self-talk and the way, you were born perfect, but then things happen and you start, hearing things, oh, you're not that good. Oh, let your sister do it. Oh, you suck at this. You'll never amount to whatever. Right. And you start loading stuff, and then you start believing it. And then so you go and get a good job. So you're going to prove that you're going to get this job. And then you get addicted to your job. Guilty. And then you realize your job's not why you're here. And the moment you choose, I'm going to reshape my life. Like, I resigned a career to reshape my life. That's pretty rare, and I was able to do it, so thank goodness. But most people can't. But when that clarity comes, and you have something to give, and now everything is based on what I see when I thrive at that, and everything lines up, and the language aligns, because what comes out of our mouth creates the world. And so when the language aligns, and language is extremely important, the language of a brand that's consistent, and that it transfers energy. When all that aligns, the world aligns. And so really it feels like the world's working against us until clarity comes. What a blessing that all of us get to help others step into clarity.
Yeah, that's
and,
sure.
With all the one woman who was on here before, with their heart and with their energy, with what their brand is, but they think it's just a business, and it's going to go beyond that. It's like it's going to be hard to get rid of me. Just be forewarned. But literally, I had a woman write me yesterday, a client. She goes, "You're stuck with me." I'm like, praise God. I'm like, all right, go.
I was gonna jump in and ask. You've been talking about question of clarity and the impact-driven statement. It's quite interesting, actually. But I feel like I've seen you at the Pride event, and I've been there as well. And what I've noticed, including myself, is the fact that when we are trying to message our branding, that messaging part, sometimes we are lost in the clarity. And And so my question was around, how do you help your, client and to navigate to, to get that clarity toward their messaging and around their whole brand?
It's an excellent question, and I'll give you a simple answer, but I could talk for a year, but I'll give you a simple answer. There are 7 steps to impact-driven branding. And I don't have I'm preparing a landing page to offer an impact-driven branding blueprint on some advertising that we're doing, which says, here are the 7 steps, get started. So there's steps, there's just steps. One is imagine your brand thriving, writing down the who's and what's of the impacts, and then asking yourself, well, in order to make that impact, what must the brand become? Must it be technology centric? Must it be loving? Must it be, aggressive? Must it be strategic? It's like you ask yourself, and the process extracts what's necessary to make those impacts. It just lines up because of the process. And so it's not difficult. It's rigorous. It's not difficult. And so how I help is I facilitate the process, listen deeply with, I'm a certified trainer of neurolinguistics programming. So I listen with those ears. If they say this is a problem, I usually say, I think to myself, well, that's the presenting problem. Let's get to the real problem. But so I facilitate it. I even do it in groups and then we'll break out and people will help each other speed through the process. It becomes something that you can do. So I'm writing a book, which I can't hold up. It's called Impact Driven Branding, 7 Steps to Ensure Your Brand Impacts People's Lives and the World. It's steps. And there's a workbook. It's like, so the event that I'm going to give people to is kind of the what and why. The how event is a workshop in March on the 18th. That's like, well, we take one impact statement and you're working the whole way through the process and you look down and you go, wow, it's a process. Like I totally get it and I'm doing it. Yeah. Do you need a branding guru? No. Hallelujah. I mean, what, everybody thinks they need a branding go, hey, that's why I'm writing the book. So it's easier than people would think. And it's just a process.
Thank you. That answered my question pretty well. I'm pretty sure that book, when it come out, it will be a hit because with like you said, clarifying that message is very important. And if there's a step to guide you through that, then
if somebody sends me their email to rich@richbrands.org, just sends me an email, put me on the list for the book. rich@richbrands.org, and that includes you. rich@richbrands.org, just say, put me on the list for the book. Believe me, you'll get an invitation. It should publish, I'm thinking April. It's mid-April.
Okay. Well, awesome. Are you guys there? Okay. I think we went to silence for a second. We are at like, it's time to say goodbye. I feel like singing the time to, but we're not going to do that because I'm not a singer. Rich, I'm thrilled to have had you with us for this segment here. I know you're going to be back as one of our segment hosts over the next few days.
Oh, I'd love that. That would be really great.
I will coordinate that with you. I couldn't get you on today because we needed to make sure we dialed it in ourselves so we knew it was going to work and not going to work. So I want to thank you very much for being with us, and you and I'll be in touch to get those details.
And I'm here to support what you're doing. I love what you're doing, and thank you too. Thank you both of you for hosting this and creating World Love Week. God bless you.
And to you too. Hang out with us if you like, or hang out in the Facebook group, whatever. I'm going to bring Madeline on in a second here because she is amazing. Go ahead. I see your fingers. Go ahead.
And remember, now is the time to define the brand you will become.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Good work. Awesome. Thrilled to have you. We're gonna bring on. I love this man. He's awesome. And look also at his backdrop as to how he's very cleanly and clearly indicated who he is. I love it. Always have. It's great. And because it makes a statement without having